Welcome to the first episode and introduction of the Active Recall YouTube channel. So today we're going to talk about how I passed the CompTIA A plus exam. A little bit about me first, right? I want to introduce myself first, right? My name is Andre. I'm 33 years old and I have 2 degrees. I got a degree in engineering and I got a degree in psychology. So as you can see, I'm a nerd and I love to learn. What I hope to do with this channel is to learn IT concepts. Now you might be asking yourself, how are you gonna learn IT concepts by posting videos? I'm glad you asked. I'm gonna be using a superior method of study called active recall. You're reinforcing concepts that you learn by teaching it to other people. I prefer teaching it to strangers, but family members would do. So if you want to learn any concept, this is not just for IT. If you want to learn any concept, the best way to do it is to teach it. Best way to learn it is to teach it. And it beats reading the same paragraph over and over and over again so that you can memorize it and just regurgitate it. You want to be able to learn these things, understand the concept, and apply it, specifically within the realm of IT. Rote memorization doesn't really get rewarded. It's important that you understand the concepts because within the sphere of IT, it's all about problem solving, about using creativity, it's all about innovating, things of that nature. If you don't understand how the underlying concepts work, then you're pretty much done for. And I don't know if people are seeing the same things that I'm seeing, especially starting out in IT, but I wanted to give my perspective, right? Which is another reason why I created this channel. I'm going to be doing live study sessions, particularly with subnetting and other problems. I'm here to provide my perspective on IT, to learn IT, to learn by teaching IT, and also to maybe build a little community. I'm wondering if you're going through a career transition. Yeah, I just want to get together with a bunch of like-minded people and get some stuff done, right? I've been engaged with IT since I was about 5 years old, right? And my first computer ran on MS-DOS. I'm basically aging myself. Anybody who knows what MS-DOS is, it's this is strictly a command line operating system. Before we was using mice to click and all that stuff, we was doing strictly command line stuff. And my first experience was my mom, she had brought home some old computers. Somebody had given her some old computers that they weren't using anymore. I don't know what they were using it for. They gave her some old computers. It ran on MS-DOS and it was just strictly command line stuff. So with the computers, I kid you not, she brought home these thick phone book like command line books, right? With a bunch of MS-DOS commands. And that's when I started learning how to use a computer. I started using computers with the command prompt, strictly command line, right? It had Snake on there and all sorts of stuff. It was insane. That was when I was 5 years old. When I was 6 years old, I believe it was 5 years, I don't know, 5, 6, doesn't matter. When I was 6 years old, I started using Apple computers. It was when I was in first grade. I still remember this teacher, Miss McCarthy, and she was like military style with it. Like she wanted you to sit at the computer. You gotta be, she was teaching us how to use a computer and in an ergonomic way. But that was my first experience using an Apple computer. It was in first grade and Mrs. McCarthy's class, and that was really fun. I've done so many things with computers, your mind at the gutter, not like that. And things that I'm just, yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, I'm gonna keep it moving. That's a perfect segue into the first point on how I passed my CompTIA A plus exams in under a year on my first try. Both exams on my first try. You gotta have a passion for IT. You don't necessarily have to have some advanced background in IT, but you have to have a passion for IT, because if you don't, it's gonna be a drag to study for these exams. I have the CompTIA ITF plus certification and of course the CompTIA A plus, right? If you don't have passion for IT, this is probably not the field for you, because there's a lot of topics in it that's gonna have you low-key pulling your hair out. Specifically, if you want to do computer programming, stuff like that, I give those people the utmost respect, because I don't know how they sit there and code for hours and hours. But again, you have to love it. I, in particular, love the network engineering component, the cybersecurity component of IT. That's the field that I want to go into. My dad was a systems engineer, and he pretty much taught me a lot of different concepts about basic concepts and advanced concepts about network engineering. I'm just realizing this now. I was low-key doing a little bit of subnetting when I first started out with all of this IT stuff. Like, he was teaching me those things. I couldn't really appreciate it then because I was so young. I think he was trying to teach me that stuff at around between, I don't know, I'd say 8-10 years old. But what ended up happening was, he's leading me down the STEM path. And then I said, you know what? I'm tired of STEM. Like, engineering stuff came easily to me because of how curious I am and how much of a problem solver I am. I just decided to get a psych degree instead. I wanted to become a therapist, started studying philosophy. I just started doing all this other stuff. But I think that I wish that he would have told me to get these certifications instead of going to school. But at the same time, another part of me says that it's good to be well-rounded. The person who's going to do well in the future is going to be a person that has range, right? And I got to read that book, Range, by David Epstein. The person who's going to do really well in the future, and even is doing well now, has range. They're well-rounded. They have multiple. I'm sorry, I'm looking away a lot. Look, it's a beautiful view. Beautiful view. So if I keep looking over there, that's why. But I think the person that's going to succeed is going to have multiple disciplines, command of multiple disciplines, and be able to pull from multiple disciplines to solve creative problems, right? To solve problems creatively. And that's where active recall comes in. When you study these concepts and you fully understand these concepts, you're able to solve problems in a creative way, in an unconventional way. And I think that as technology gets more and more sophisticated, we need more sophisticated thinkers, out-of-the-box thinkers, right? But that's the point number one. If you don't love this thing, if you don't love technology, forget about it. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why you're doing it. I mean, you might hear that, tech pays a lot of money. I don't know if that's true or not, because I don't work officially in tech yet. But it doesn't really matter to me. It does matter. But at the same time, that's not what drives me. And I think that's why I was able to pass these exams in quick succession on my first time. And that's point number one. Have a passion for it. Care about it. Don't just care about how much money you think you're going to make, because that's not really going to do much for you. Second point. Point number two. Take the ITF, the CompTIA ITF, especially if you're a fresher. I'm so glad I took the ITF, because I was just going to go right into A+. And I'm glad I jumped into the ITF first, because the ITF is basically, it's kind of like studying for the CompTIA A+. But if you're a freshman in this stuff, the ITF Plus will lay out a lot. It's very broad. It's going to lay out a lot of the basics. It's going to lay out a lot of hardware stuff, software, security concepts, troubleshooting. And I think some professionalism stuff is in there too. I don't know if I'm mixing that up with A+. Probably should have wrote down some notes to look at, because I'm just saying all this stuff off the top of my head. So, yeah. Anyway, that was point number two, right? Point number three, I had 4 different sources of study materials to pull from. I had Professor Messer, Cybex study guide. I had that, Cybex review guide, and I used some apps for some practice questions. So Professor Messer was great. He goes through a lot of the exam objectives, and he has like this whole package that if you can afford, I would say buy it. I bought it for both of the exams, the hardware portion of the exam and the software portion of the exam. I would say buy that, because it really came in handy, because he has free videos on YouTube, and then he also has study notes, and then he has some practice exams. I think it comes with like 3 different practice exams. I didn't really like the practice exams because I thought the questions were too easy. And the reason why I thought the questions were too easy is because I took the CompTIA ITF. When I took the CompTIA ITF certification exam, the questions were worded differently than Professor Messer. So I guess Professor Messer just basically, he aims at just teaching you the concepts. And once you have the concepts, you can pretty much answer any question, which is great. But if you're not familiar with the way that CompTIA asks these questions, it can kind of throw you off. And he asked the questions in a little bit different. Oh, I also use Jason Dion's practice exams. Jason Dion's practice exams are pretty solid, straight out of the box. You can just take one of his exams or both of them or 4 of them, however many he has. And if you do well on those, I would say that you're good to go on the A+. Those questions, I think that they're truly representative of the mental energy you're gonna need, because you're gonna need it. Mental energy you're gonna need for answering the A+ exams, for both of the exams, right? So definitely use Professor Messer, Cybex study guide, and the review guide. I use Jason Dion, I use some apps. I use like 5 different sources. Get as many sources as you can, because I think the more sources you have, the more angles you can study the concepts from, the more angles you can see the exam materials from, and answering the questions in different ways. For example, all of these sources have practice exams, and all of these practice exams approach the concepts from different angles. Point 4, make sure that you have a lab. There's a lot of people that's just doing a lot of book work. That's what I noticed. A lot of people are just doing a lot of book work. They're not doing any labbing. What is a lab? So with the A+, they require that you open and repair computers, replace parts, replace RAM, replace CPU, things like that. You gotta know how to troubleshoot and replace things. Get familiar with printers. Then the hardware section of the exam, CompTIA A+ love their printers. I'm just gonna say that much. Learn how to use a printer, learn how to fix a printer. Very important stuff. I made sure I drilled down heavily into the printer section. Troubleshooting, gotta know how to troubleshoot, right? Get a nice little lab, maybe get a cheap desktop computer, open it, get familiar with changing out the RAM and all that stuff. I did something a little bit more risky. I took my MacBook Pro and I replaced the RAM. I went from 8 gigabytes to 16 gigabytes, up the RAM a little bit. Just looked around in there for a little bit, closed it back up, and I upgraded. You could watch a lot of YouTube videos instead if you really can't afford to get a lab. But I really think that seeing the materials, seeing the components will help you on the exam. I'm just saying. Have a passion for IT. Please have a passion for IT. If you don't have a passion for IT and you're just thinking about how much money you're gonna make or how much money you think you're gonna make, you're gonna be miserable, because there's a lot of problem solving in this. If you don't have curiosity, you're gonna end up screwing yourself over. Second point, take the ITF. If you're really a fresher, take the ITF. That's what I did, and it was pretty much like studying for the CompTIA A+. It gives you, it's a confidence booster. Taking the ITF Plus and passing it is a confidence booster, because you get to play with a lot of the questions. Well, not play, because it's the actual exam. You get to see how CompTIA asks questions, because they ask questions, and these questions are, they're exhausting. Third, get multiple study materials. Don't just get one book. I got like, I was wilding. I got like 6 different study materials. Do as many practice questions as you can. I did about 2,000. I did like maybe 2,500 practice questions. Just keep on doing the practice questions over and over and over again, seeing the material from as many angles as you can, and you'll be set. Fourth point, get a lab. Get a lab. Once you get a lab, you're really talking about some experience, because with IT, you need to get a lot of hands-on experience. If you don't get a lot of hands-on experience, you're not going to be able to solidify the concepts. I forgot this point. Dang, I'm all out of order. I promise I'll get better at doing this video stuff. Teach the concepts. I guess this is the 5th point. Teach the concepts to someone, right? If you learn something about power over Ethernet, or Ethernet over power, whatever these hardware concepts are, teach it to somebody. I remember explaining to one of my family members the whole concept with Ethernet over power and power over Ethernet, because you want to make sure that you actually understand the concepts. That way, when a question comes up, no matter how they ask, I'm about to get out of here, it's too hot. However they ask these questions, you want to be ready for them, right? So you want to, as much as possible, be able to teach this information, recall this information back, and pretty much, right, once you could teach the concepts back, you're definitely ready for the exam. Also, I would say stop studying. I don't know, if you take a practice exam, see, this is going to be pretty much a freestyle vlog now, but if you take a practice exam and you get like, I don't know, if you get like a 90 on Jason Dion's exam and it's a week away from the exam, I would say stop studying, because you can probably overstudy yourself into failing. What I almost did, I almost overstudied myself because I was passing the exam. It's nice. But I was passing these practice exams and somehow I felt like that wasn't enough. So I just kept studying and studying and studying, probably because I wasn't confident. Oh, point number 7. This should have been my first point. You should schedule the exam. Schedule the exam. Don't wait, because you don't want to end up studying into oblivion. So schedule the exam and it'll hold you accountable. It'll hold you accountable to going, to taking the exam, and not, you know, pussyfooting around. Oh, this is much better. My hand is all burnt up. But what you want to do is you want to study for a little bit. I guess get halfway through the exam objectives. Oh, get the exam objectives. Man, I'm all out of order here. Get the exam objectives. I'm going to start planning these videos out better. Get the exam objectives and then work your way through the exam objectives. Once you feel like you are comfortable, like halfway through, what you're gonna do is schedule the exam, if you really don't want to schedule the exam in advance. And then when you're ready to take the exam, which you probably never gonna feel like you're ready, but if you schedule the exam, you know that you guys you have to take the exam if you scheduled it. And you can always reschedule if you want to, but who wants to sit there and keep you scheduling over and over? You're never gonna be ready, you're never gonna feel like you're ready, but you'll be surprised. Get in there, take the exam, and just do the best you can. That's what I would say. But look, it's a nice view though. Screw it. It's a nice view. I think I might do more videos here. Use the water as a backdrop. But that's pretty much it. It's pretty much it. One of the most important things I could say, have a passion for it and get some labs. Like, get some physical equipment that you could play around with. But that's the first video. I got it out the way finally. And I don't know, I'm currently studying for the CCNA. So I'm gonna do a lot of videos on CCNA. I wish I'd started this channel a year back, because I would have had a lot of content on this channel. But I think that if I did, I would have probably failed the exam. Like, I was super focused on the exam and the exam only. But that's pretty much that. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here because I was sitting in that sun for way too long. So see you guys in my next video. Peace.